The throne room of the Zarketh Empress stretched before Nick like a cathedral of nightmares. Bioluminescent veins pulsed through obsidian walls, casting the chamber in shades of violet and crimson. At its center, upon a throne carved from what appeared to be petrified bone, sat Empress Velsera, 7 feet of chitinous armor, 4 arms folded in calculated patience, compound eyes that caught every photon of light and reflected it back as judgment. Nick stood at the chamber's entrance, his envirosuit scuffed and scorched from the crash landing. Beside him, Elsa remained perfectly still, her own helmet hiding whatever expression she wore. They had been captured within hours of their emergency landing on Zarketh Prime, their diplomatic shuttle reduced to twisted metal in the planet's acidic swamps. Humans, Velsera's voice reverberated through the chamber, translated by the neural implants all species used for galactic commerce. Your kind has proven troublesome. Nick said nothing. Protocol dictated silence until addressed directly with a question. The Zarketh were ancient, their empire spanning 24 systems before humanity had even discovered fire. Respect was survival. 5 cycles ago, your species was granted limited access to the outer trade routes, the Empress continued, rising from her throne with fluid grace that belied her armored bulk. Since then, you have disrupted established markets, questioned protocols that have existed for millennia, and worst of all, her eyes fixed on Nick with an intensity that made his breath catch. You have inspired hope in servant species. The last words dripped with venom. Remove your helmet, Velsera commanded, descending the steps toward them. I would see the face of this infestation. Nick's hand moved to the seal at his neck. Beside him, Elsa tensed. They both knew the atmosphere was breathable, barely. The Zarketh maintained environments hostile to most species as a show of dominance. 3 hours exposure would cause respiratory damage. 6 would be fatal. The helmet hissed as pressure equalized. Nick lifted it free and the air hit him like a physical blow, thick, humid tasting of copper and decay. He kept his expression neutral even as his lungs protested. Velsera stopped mid-step, her compound eyes, capable of seeing across spectrums humans couldn't imagine, fixed on Nick's face with an intensity that made the air seem to crystallize. One clawed hand rose slowly, almost involuntarily, toward him before stopping. Silence consumed the throne room. Impossible, the Empress whispered. And for the first time in recorded Zarketh history, the translator carried something other than cold authority. It carried shock. You are damaged. Nick's jaw tightened. He knew what she saw. The network of scars crossing his left cheek, the milky eye that no longer focused properly, the burned tissue that stretched down his neck and disappeared beneath his suit collar. Mementos from the mining accident that had nearly killed him at 17. Your kind sent a broken specimen to negotiate? Velsera's voice rose, but the anger seemed forced, artificial. Her eyes never left Nick's scars. I'm First Officer Nick Reeves, he said quietly, his damaged voice rough even in the toxic air. And I'm not here to negotiate. Our shuttle crashed. We request asylum under Galactic Protocol 7. You request? Velsera circled him slowly, her movements predatory yet somehow uncertain. A damaged human request from the Empress of Zarketh? Yes, another long silence. Then, unexpectedly, Velsera turned to Elsa. You, remove your helmet as well. Elsa glanced at Nick, received his barely perceptible nod, and unsealed her own helmet. Her short dark hair was plastered to her skull with sweat, her brown eyes alert and calculating. Unlike Nick, her face was unmarred, standard human. By any species assessment, the Empress barely looked at her before returning her attention to Nick. In 10,000 cycles of Zarketh civilization, Velsera said slowly, we have conquered 47 species. We have perfected genetic engineering to eliminate weakness from our genome. Our soldiers are grown in acceleration chambers, their flaws corrected before they draw first breath. She leaned closer to Nick, her mandibles clicking softly. We are perfect. Nick said nothing. And yet you... A clawed finger stopped inches from his scarred cheek. You are allowed to represent your species? To venture into the void bearing such obvious damage? Understanding crashed over Nick like cold water. He glanced at Elsa, saw the same realization dawning in her eyes. Yes, Nick said firmly. I earned my position. My scars don't define my capability. Earned? The word seemed alien in Velsera's mouth. You were not... discarded? No, not Terminated for genetic weakness? No. Velsera straightened abruptly, all forearms spreading wide. Leave us, she commanded, and the guards lining the walls filed out with military precision. Even her advisors departed without question. When only the 3 humans and the Empress remained, Velsera did something unprecedented. She sat not on her throne but on the steps leading to it, bringing her eyes level with Nick's. For 10,000 cycles, she said quietly, the Zarketh have pursued perfection. We eliminate weakness. We destroy the damaged. We have created a civilization of flawless warriors and brilliant minds. Her voice carried something Nick had never expected to hear from her kind. Exhaustion. And in those 10,000 cycles we have created nothing new. No art, no innovation, no hope. She gestured to Nick's scars. You bear the marks of survival, of choosing to continue despite damage. And your kind, she turned to include Elsa, your kind allows this. Celebrates it even. We do, Elsa spoke for the first time, her voice strong. Our strength comes from overcoming, not from avoiding. Velsera was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was barely above a whisper. There is a Zarketh word long forbidden, Velkara. It means beautiful because of flaws, not despite them. She looked directly at Nick. I thought it was just a weakness of our ancient philosophers. But seeing you, I wonder if we have been wrong for 10,000 cycles. Nick felt Elsa's hand find his, squeeze gently. They had come seeking asylum and stumbled into something far more profound. The first crack in an empire built on the illusion of perfection. Your asylum is granted, Velsera said, standing. But I ask something in return. Teach us. Show us how a species that embraces its damaged can reach for the stars. Nick smiled, the expression pulling at his scars. We'd be honored, Your Majesty. As they left the throne room, helmets tucked under their arms, Elsa leaned close. Did we just accidentally start a revolution? I think, Nick replied. We just reminded them what it means to be alive. Behind them, alone in her throne room, Empress Velsera traced one claw along her own unmarked exoskeleton and wondered, for the first time in her life, if perfection might be the greatest flaw of all. The end.